Well, good morning. It's Friday morning, right before charter. I've got about 8 hours of charter today. But I got a phone call from Scott for Sydney, Australia, down under. I don't know how his boat floats because he's on the bottom side of the world, so theoretically I don't know if that makes any sense. But he tells me the boat floats down there, upright. Not quite sure how that works, but I'm going to go do some science on that one. But I had a great conversation with him last night. We did a little WhatsApp FaceTime. Awesome, Hatteras. Thanks so much for calling and asking questions and watching the channel. Really, guys, really appreciate it. So we had a couple of questions, so I'm going to try and answer them this morning, as well as I'm going to try taking some pictures because I don't think that he has a book. So I have a book of taking a couple pictures, and I'm going to draw out some diagrams and stuff like that to try and make it a little bit easier for it to understand. But one of the questions he had is that the booster spring right here, which side the actual hook of the spring should it be on here? And you can see it's on the inboard side. That's the outboard side. We are on the starboard side, so it's closer to the inboard side is where that spring is attached. And I've gone ahead and just disconnected the throttle on here. It's just a booster spring. It's, that's your idling governor right there. So that's what sets your idle. And then this is your throttle. So that's wide open. Coming back. That's in, there we go. That's in idle. So if I was to connect this back up to here and actuate my throttle, this would go all the way in that position, which would be full throttle, all the way back in this position, which would be neutral. That actuates this lever right here, which goes to our governor housing in here. And that allows this tube right here to actuate all of, let's see if I can figure out how to do it here, the injectors. So you can see the injector racks are moving right there. So that's no fuel, and then in is full fuel. So we just set these racks and the tube the other day, and so it works. But I haven't put this cover back on. I got that cover back on. So hopefully that helps, because the question was, is this spring on the inside or the outside? It's closer to the valve cover is the connection. And this is adjustable, so he may have adjusted this a little bit. But when we fired it up last night, he was running around 650, which really is just fine. So I don't know if he's got some other issues going on, Scott, but that's where that is. And as far as your blowers, we talked about that earlier, or last night. These bolts come off, the top of this comes off. This stuff comes apart real quick and easy, and then you can dismantle this hose and this hose. This is your raw water, so there's nothing in here that's going to potentially dump out. It's not your antifreeze that's in here. Your antifreeze is in this container right here, but this flows through. So pull that off, and then you can pull the two coolers that are on the top of here, and I usually pull them together just because it makes it a lot easier. I know you don't want to do that, but and then the linkage is pretty easy just to undo as well. You can just undo, I usually just undo this linkage right there, and then that separates the two, and then you can just pull them straight out, and then you can easily get gaskets for this and rebuild them. But if you guys are starting to see some corrosion along the back side, oops, I haven't put that back on yet. Corrosion on the back side here and here, that's indicative of your coolers leaking. And I think I've done it in another video, but I'll throw it in this one. I showed Scott last night because I got it at my shop, what this could possibly look like if you let this thing go and it keeps leaking, and you see all kinds of scarring and rot in here. It's actually going to expand and blow up the top of the blower body. That's going to fall off. It's going to end up in your blowers. It's going to end up in your engine, and it's going to be really, 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 really expensive. So make sure that you guys take care of your blowers and your gaskets on here, and make sure that your blowers are not expanding. And like I said, I'll take a picture or a video. I said I've got an old video when I redid all these things, but I'll show you again just for this. So, and this is your governor body, and then this is your shutdown right here. It pulls this, which then pulls the lever right there, and that's our throttle right here. Basically, when we move that, that's our throttle. I don't know if you can see that or not. Right there, that's our throttle. So it's in the off position now. If I throttle it in that way, then it's full throttle, and that's how you set the racks, is putting it in a full throttle. So I'm going to reconnect all this, but hopefully that helps, Scott. And like I said, I'll get you some pictures and put some of the manual in there as well so you can see, and we'll go from there. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for calling. Appreciate all the support. If you guys haven't liked and subscribed, please do that. It helps us all out a lot. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to give me a call.
Take a shot! Take a shot!
So it's a couple days later. I still haven't produced that video for Scott yet down in Sydney. I just texted with him. He's actually off the boat for the weekend, which is good because I'm heading to St. Augustine tomorrow. May not be able to get it done, so I apologize for the late delay, but I may send this to you. So the question was about this booster spring, about one of the mechanics that you had down in Australia, and he kept saying that it brings it back to the neutral position depending on which side that this is on. It just didn't really make any sense to me because, as I showed you yesterday, taking the actual throttle cable off, it doesn't do anything. It's literally helps from idle to full throttle, make it easier to go from idle to full throttle. That's really all that this booster spring does. Then I got thinking, this spring right here, that's connected to your throttle though, and your shutoff. This spring is what will help it get into the off position. So maybe this is the spring that he's talking about. I'm not quite sure. Full throttle is all the way to me, and off is in that direction, so that would be in the off position there. If you can see that move or not, but that's in the, that way is the off position. That this way here is full throttle. So maybe that helps you out.